I think it's an incredibly poor reaction to what I accept is a very serious problem to change a fundamental principle of English justice that lay people have an important part to play in the application of the criminal law and the determination of whether someone is guilty or not, which could have serious consequences for either the defendant or the principal complainant, is a departure that I don't believe is justified by the present circumstances.
And as you're talking there, we've learned that ministers have been briefed on the potential changes to the justice system. So it sounds like more than a rumour. We could well get an announcement at some point about that as well. You do say, though, there is a tremendous problem, well, not just in the courts, in the criminal justice system more widely. We've seen the situation with prisons being too full and what the government has done in regards to that. So something clearly has to give. What else could they do?
Well, you're right. There are major crises in our criminal justice system. The government's initial response was to commission various reports. So we had David Gauke's report looking at the overcrowding in prisons, and we had Sir Brian Leveson, who is currently still in the process of preparing his report. He's already provided part one, and he came up with the idea of the Crown Court Bench Division, which would have taken jury trials at the lower end of those cases appearing in the Crown Court, taken the juries away from those and put them in the hands of a judge and two magistrates. Now, we felt that that was a very uncomfortable compromise, but one that was just about justified because of the challenges we face. That hasn't been tried. We have no clear evidence of the benefits of judge-only trials on the backlogs. And this is such a fundamental departure from our justice system and the way that we've done justice in this country for hundreds of years, that to do so without a firm basis is worrying. To take away people's rights in this way is truly alarming. And again, I say not justified by the crisis, when many of the measures that have been proposed by Sir Brian in part one of his report have not even been responded to by the government, let alone tried.
Look, as you rightly point out, this would have to progress through the Palace of Westminster. This would have to get approval at several levels, not least the Lords, where we heard John Craig, my colleague, say earlier on that plenty of former lawyers sit, so they would no doubt have a view on this. If it did progress, do you think then there would then be more, like it would likely cause more court action, not necessarily the criminal type, but certainly more people appealing things if this was to happen? There'd be test cases and the like.
If they change it as a matter of primary legislation, then of course that's not challengeable in the courts. And I think it's fair to say that the issue of jury trial has been looked at as to whether or not it contravenes the right to a fair trial. So I don't think there are judicial challenges to a primary legislative move by the government to take away those rights. But there will undoubtedly be an outcry, I suspect, not just from those who have experience of the criminal justice system, working within it, both as members of the judiciary and as practitioners, but from many members of the public too, who will see this as a very alarming move away from rights that they have enjoyed and have applied to the way in which we apply our criminal law in this country for hundreds of years, giving us a reputation across the world of having a gold standard criminal justice system.
Yes.
And this is such a fundamental change that this risks undermining that reputation. And
however, Richard Atkinson, there are plenty of victims who'll be watching this now who think we don't have a gold standard criminal justice system. And also we hear the government saying that criminals are gaming the system at the moment as well. There will be people watching that think something needs to be done, and this could be it.
I don't, and I've already said to you, I don't dispute that we have a major issue at the moment, but we're looking at permanent changes to something that is an immediate crisis. I don't in any way diminish the extent of that crisis, and certainly not the impact it has on both victims and defendants, and that's recognized across the board. But what I say is that we've had problems with backlogs in the past. This is the most acute. There are other ways of addressing it. The cause of these backlogs is unquestionably a lack of funding through the last 30 years in the criminal justice system, which needs to be addressed. And simply taking away people's rights when there is no proof that this is going to solve the problem, when there are underlying issues that still need addressing, is a very dangerous move on the part of the government.
The timing of this could be construed as interesting, right? We are the evening before a budget. You're talking about the criminal justice system needing more money. Do you suspect that behind the scenes there's been a discussion and there just is no more money, so they're going to have to do something else?
I think that's a level of speculation on which I'm not particularly well informed to be able to comment. There is unquestionably a need for investment in the criminal justice system. Where the politics of that lies between the Ministry of Justice and the Treasury, I don't know. What I do know is that for the last 30 years, it has always come down against investment in the criminal justice system, and the Treasury have withheld significant investment that's needed in the past. But what's being said at present, I actually don't know.